The year was 1989. Tensions were high in the Central American country of Panama. Self-proclaimed President Manuel Noriega was threatening U.S. interests in the country, including the Panama Canal. After years of failed diplomacy, then-President George H.W. Bush took action to bring Noriega to justice and install a democratically elected government in his place. Almost 30,000 U.S. troops converged on the country the week before Christmas to pull off the largest military operation since the Vietnam War.
On December 20th, 1989, at 1 o'clock in the morning, over 700 American Rangers dropped from the sky onto this airfield 40 miles south of Panama City. I was one of them. Our objective was to take out the Panamanian Special Forces base located here at Rio Hato. We succeeded in that mission, but for one of my Ranger buddies, it was the last parachute drop he would ever make.
The light turned green in the C-130s that we were jumping, and it was the first time I actually wasn't afraid to jump. It was remarkably light out for being 1 o'clock in the morning. As I fell, I could see jumpers all over, tracer rounds shooting up through the sky, and pretty quickly I realized I was walking on top of somebody else's parachute.
Mac knew he was in trouble because the lower jumper's canopy created a vacuum that caused his chute to collapse.
I thought, no big deal. They teach you this in jump school. I slipped my risers to the right, and I ran off the parachute. It's like walking on a pillow.
But this was no training jump. Anti-aircraft fire forced the planes to fly faster and lower than normal, and there wasn't enough time for Mac's parachute to reinflate. Carrying a full combat load, he hit the ground so hard that it knocked him unconscious. When he awoke, he knew something had gone terribly wrong.
I tried to roll over so that I could get my 9mm out. I could hear this crunching in my back, and the pain just swept over me, and I passed out.
A buddy soon found Mac face down in the grass and went for help. After several hours, he was evacuated on the first plane back to the States, where he soon was given the news that his spine had been severed. More than 300 other American servicemen were wounded, and 23 were killed in the short conflict. Within 3 weeks, the operation was over. Noriega had surrendered. Eventually, the former dictator was convicted of drug trafficking, money laundering, and racketeering. He was sentenced to 20 years in the federal penitentiary in Miami, Florida. Even after completing his sentence, Noriega is unlikely to taste freedom because Panama and France are both clamoring to triumph for crimes in their respective countries. 10 years after the invasion, the United States shuttered its bases in Panama and turned over control of the Panama Canal. Today, the country is a thriving financial center, tourist destination, and enjoys the highest per capita income in Central America. As the 20th anniversary of the invasion approached, and along with a few other Ranger buddies, Mac and I returned to Rio Hato, which had been our drop zone on December 20th, 1989.
Or other buildings, but I know I was really close to the beginning of the runway.
While it was clear the landscape had changed, we also saw how much we had changed, and the memories were surprisingly emotional.
I'm hoping I can hold myself together. It's such a life-changing day. You know, the last time I could walk was 500 feet above Rio Hato, and so that's a little weird. I didn't get to do my job. I wanted to be the who. I wanted to stop bad guys, and that envy is something I have to battle.
Mac went on to share how he was able to make it through the disappointment after his injury.
You know, I wasn't a Christian when I joined the Rangers, but my roommate was having a revival at their church in Lakewood, which was near Fort Lewis. So we go down to Panama for the invasion, and he gives me a little New Testament, which I'm reading in the C-130 on the way to Noriega's place.
After Mac was injured, his roommate continued to talk to him about God.
How do you not like Jesus Christ? He's going around healing people. And my roommate calls me in February and says, "Are you ready? Have you got enough information?" And I did, and we prayed over the phone together, and it was by far the best thing I've done in my life.
That decision changed everything. It's even enabled Mac to be grateful for the way his life has turned out.
Ever since I broke my back, my life has been amazing. I kid you not, I cannot tell you how awesome my wife is. And my kids, I could never ask for anything more magnificent. My career, my friends, and my mentors, I don't know how it could have been any better.
Our return to Panama 20 years later was actually therapeutic. healing old wounds and bringing closure, reaffirming the bond between a few old Rangers who once helped bring freedom to a country. And we all agreed it was worth it.
For me, being a part of that has been such a blessing of my life because I feel like I was a part of something so much bigger than I could have ever done by myself. I know the people maybe in Panama don't ever think about Mac McElrath. You know, they don't think about any of our contribution here 20 years ago. But I don't care. I wasn't doing it for America. I wasn't doing it for the Army. I wanted to be a Ranger, and I wanted to stop bad guys. And I think we did a pretty good job here, so.
Chuck Holton, CBN News, Panama City, Panama.